All right, here we go. West Baltimore native Vinny Green has spent his life dedicated to two things: damn good ice cream and making a positive impact in his community. Vinny is the owner and events director for Taharka Brothers Ice Cream. He started working there as a high school freshman in 2010, when the operation was just getting started, serving up scoops of ice cream from a humble pushcart. The company was originally founded as a way to provide mentorship and professional skills to young adults in Baltimore and has grown into an employee-owned co-op with locations in Lexington Market, Broadway Market, Cross Street Market, and our house, as well as the pastel pink ice cream truck that makes its way throughout our region. You could read his whole bio on our website, but Creative Mornings Baltimore, please help me welcome Vinny Green to the stage.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. First, before I get started, I want to say thank you so much, especially for being up as early as I have been. It's not always the best motivation to get up, but when you got Black Acres and all the delicious food, I mean, yeah, it's a no-brainer. But again, appreciate to hear my speech for today. We're just gonna get it started. I'm going to give you a storyline of my beginning of Taharka Brothers. Born and raised West Baltimore, freshman year in high school. It's the first year you get your work permit. My mom gave me two options. She said, you're either going to go to the Saturday program that I dramatically dragged every Saturday, or you're going to get a job. But I knew my skills was beyond my means. I knew that I wanted to get involved with my community. I knew I wanted to use a platform to gain the professional skills of being an entrepreneur or a community leader. At this Saturday program, it was called Praise. It was a program that it was a college readiness program. We had an orientation. First day at orientation, I met two guys from Taharka Brothers. These guys' names was Mike Prokop and Reese. These guys was 6'3" to my 5'4", filled with tattoos, but they spoke well. They ran their business very beyond my expectations. That was the job that I wanted to do. I harassed these guys, called. They seen my number on their call log at least 3 times a week. They was like, let's just give this kid an opportunity. My first event was at the farmer's market. The farmer's market was actually under 83. It was my first event. We had our push cart in the very, very beginning. I fell in love with it. I was a natural salesperson. I got into it. I learned the ins and outs. I made ice cream. I scooped ice cream. I worked with the other fellow owners. This is all through my high school period. I heard of this thing called a co-op. So a co-op was like a situation where they said, Vinny, you could have the opportunity to gain ownership of this company. And that wasn't very often, especially coming from my community. I come from Sandtown, West Baltimore. Opportunities didn't knock at my door every day. So when I got this opportunity to be an owner of what some people call the best ice cream in Baltimore, and I can go in the community and be a change maker. So when we first got started, I'm going to give a little bit of the back history. Is everyone familiar with the back history of Taharka Brothers? I would love to explain. So it's this cool guy named Sean Smith, and he's in the corner. He's always the guy in the cut with the hat. He started a program called Sylvan Beach. Sylvan Beach was a nonprofit where they had guys living on the 3rd floor, making ice cream on the 2nd floor, and they ran the coffee shop on Pressman Street. This ran on from the late 90s to the early 2000s. That nonprofit went non-existent, and they gave the opportunity to that guy I met, Mike Prokop, a bid. He was in the foster care program, and he just was looking for a bid. Sean was like, why won't we create this company that was Sylvan Beach and rebrand and renamed it after Taharka. Taharka is renamed after a young guy named Taharka McCoy. He got murdered in 2001 in the Lexington Terrace projects by his mentee. But he was a change maker in his community. He stood for positive impact. try to make a change of just being a respectable, trustworthy person. And Sean gave that opportunity to us to use our platform to be those change makers and those impactful persons. When we first got started, it was a long process. We were like, are we ever going to get this ownership, Sean? He's like, yeah, I promise you guys, got to stay focused. Keep working as hard as you're going to do. And I'm like, Sean, I'm graduating high school. What am I going to do? My mom's saying ice cream's not going to pay off. But I told my parents, like, I have faith. I have trust that this will eventually pay off. So fast forward, still working hard day by day. I think the pandemic hit. The world shut down. We didn't know what was our next step. Everyone was losing their jobs. Businesses were shutting down. It was a scary sight for anyone, just the people that worked the normal 9 to 5, the entrepreneurs. We didn't know what was our next step. At the same time, with not having the ownership, while you're still trying to bust your tail to make this business thrive. So we pushed our hats together and we put what we used to say, the shoulder to the boulder. And with the support of Britt, Emily, Kate, and that whole organization, we was able to become a co-op during the pandemic of where the world was scared. Thank you. With that, we came a co-op, and hard work over the 10, 15 years finally paid off. And we're still growing, we're still learning. And all of this came from trust, having the faith. Sometimes you gain trust from others, but you have to have trust in yourself. And again, that faith is the main thing, that you know that each individual will have the same respectful, mutual respect for each other so we can all grow. So that's just my story of my introduction into where I go into my body of today's topic, trust. Before I get started, I want to give a special thanks to Creative Morning. Mario and Kara, they reached out to me. This is actually my first public speaking, so I guess you could probably see my nerves. I'm used to speaking to like elementary schools and middle school teachers. They're just asking like, what's your favorite color and favorite flavor? But to see all your beautiful faces this morning is amazing. And I want to say thank you to everyone that attended today. And I'm going to dive into my speech. So apologize my note cards. So I'm going to introduce myself again. My name is Vinny Green. I'm 28 years old. I've been working with Taharka Brothers for the last 15 years. I started with Taharka Brothers as a freshman in high school. I run the events. I go by Cousin Vinny for some. I might been at your office building. I might been at your school. I might been at your community event, giving out free ice cream to all your children and all your relatives. And I just been that person you might just had a good conversation with. So it's nice to meet all you guys. In my life, trust has been a gift and a challenge. It's been a gift to allow me to form deep, genuine connections with others. That provides a safe haven for myself and no judgment. This trust is built on years of shared life experience, honesty, and mutual respect. I also experienced challenges while dealing with trust. There has been many times where trust has been broken or I have possibly broken trust. And the pain of betrayal is something I had to confront and overcome. These experiences has taught me that trust is not just about being trustworthy to others, but it's also about the willingness to be vulnerable and to forgive, the rebuilding trust. And boy, let me just start. I don't even want to use these. Here we go. I can't read off those. Trust is a rare thing that you can go on. Trust can be given to you and it can be broken very easily. When I first walked to Taharka Brothers, like I said, Sean gave me the opportunity to become an owner of Taharka Brothers. When that opportunity came to me, I didn't believe that this was going to be a true process. So he was able to work with me and gain my skills to become trustworthy. And trustworthy is it's the invisible. The trust is an invisible thread that keep everything together. Even though that's community, relationships, family, anything. So trust is your word. Trust is your commitment that you say you're going to be there. Trust to know is that you can be vulnerable to another person and they can understand your mutual vulnerability and they have care for it. Um, Trust is the same thing that is given to everyone, but it can be also taken from you very easily as it's given. We deal with that on a daily basis, no matter if it's in the workplace, in the office where you just had that boss that you might don't always see eye to eye to, but you have to know that your boss sometimes has your best interest, even if you don't always see eye to eye to one another. Um, Trust is also very scared when you deal with today's society of misinformation or real information. And sometimes you have to be open to everyone's biased opinion. And you can't judge a person just off of their ideas or whatever they stand on. So with that being said, apologies. This is kind of, appreciate it. Appreciate it. But apologies. With that being, trust is something that you gain through relationships and through time and through development of one another. Um, but at the same time, you can lose that same trust. And it helps build communities. It helps build foundations. Without trust, you don't have anything. Um, that's how we create a foundation. I work with a lot of different communities and organizations. They have trust in me that I have the same commitment to them. Even if that's just saying that I'm going to be a trustworthy person, of keeping my word on situations, or just with my partners or with my colleagues in business, or just having each other accountable, especially being a co-op. Co-op taught me so much of being trustworthy. Uh, as the opportunity, to, like I said, being the owner of Taharka Brothers, uh, to work with one another, we all have different backgrounds and different beliefs and understanding on situations. With being trust, you be able to build those connections, and sometimes you have to go through situations. Sometimes those situations can be rough patches, uh, and you might hit the ground, and you have to rebuild those connections, and that takes time, and that takes commitment that you have to consistently rebuild with that person, and know that you owe it to them or they owe it to you. Uh, that helps create what we are today. Uh, Look, sorry, y'all. I'm like nervous as crap. So I'm gonna go back to my note cards because I thought I was gonna be able to wing it, but no worries. And I appreciate you for sticking with me. Trust is a delicate yet powerful entity. It's an invisible thread that it weaves through our daily interaction, enabling cooperation, fostering understanding, and driving progress from the simplest personal exchange from the complex organizations dealing. Trust is essential. Trust is the glue that binds every foundation: relationships, community, society, workplace, and family. In today's world, maintaining trust is increasingly changing with our digital age, with the vast flow of information and misinformation that requires us to discerning and critical thoughts. It's more important that you commit to honesty and transparency and integrity into your relationships of building with one another. Personally, I strive to be someone who is trusted. This means to being consistent in my action, truthful in my words, reliable in my commitments. It also means acknowledging when I fail short and work to make amends and trusting my Trust in my views and my commitment in fostering connections and authentic enduring. Trust is a vital component of our lives. It enriches our relationships, strengthens our community, and gives us the guide to navigate through the world in confidence and hope. Let us all strive to be worthy of trust and build a city where we can flourish. And that is trust.
Sorry. Thank you. You're good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you feel like we all want you to win, and you are
appreciate
winning.
it.
Yeah.
I got the sweat coming down my
Yeah,
face.
I know, babe. I see it, and you're good. You're
appreciate
good. And I think like what's really just so great about like what your perspective, what you're bringing, is that like I feel like sometimes, especially with Creative Mornings, I think the vibe is generally like super posy and like yay, good morning. But also like there's pitfalls to trust, like the gaining trust, and I feel like that's all like heard, received. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
But we're gonna get into some Q&A, and I think like the first question, of course, is like, what is your favorite color and your favorite flavor? But then if you have questions, I'm gonna run around this mic to you. So if you want to start with answering your favorite color and your favorite flavor.
Well, my favorite color is blue. But my favorite flavor, we have so many. Everyone loves the honey graham. I think we did. My favorite right now is probably the keep your head up. That's that vanilla base with the blackberry swirl and the granola crumble. But they're all amazing. So, yeah.
All right, we have a question over here.
Hi.
Hey,
Thank you, first of all, so much for your vulnerability.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I have a question as someone who's also aspiring to open my own business.
Sure.
When it comes to the co-op side of your work, can you explain a little bit more about why you chose to move into a co-op and maybe how you sustain it now, maybe how you trust it now?
Sure. So, it's definitely a process for the trust. We always had the vision of being a co-op from the very, very beginning. It was just a long process from switching from a non-profit to a for-profit. But the process of still going through the trust is still an ongoing process. Just all transparency. When we first came to co-op, we started off with 6 owners. We're down to 3 owners. Trust is something that's a very vulnerability thing that you can gain and you can lose so simple. But then we also try to inspire others that can gain trust to gain more ownership of our company. The, the, the positive of being a co-op is that we can spread out all the responsibilities and the stress level that we deal on a day by day. And it gives you a sense of ownership that you know that you wake up, build this company. What you put in is what you get out of the company. And that's a process. So like even from my very beginning, to see the company go from a push cart to a few accounts to 2 ice cream trucks now, to many shops, you see that the hard work actually does pay off, and then that same hard work pays off to the people that help build the company. I think co-ops is very unique in this way because it gives everyone their sense of ownership, and it gives you a way that you can gain sense of ownership and can grow with the company. And it gives you like just day by day of a sense of waking up. Sometimes people just drag to every day just to go to work and feel like you're not wanted, you're not heard. Co-ops gives you that opportunity to know that everyone's voice is heard. We can vote on things. We can discuss things out. Your opinion actually does matter. So I hope that answers your question.
Hi.
Hey.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for everything you shared, and thank you for the honey graham ice cream.
Thank you.
My question is, with working with a team, do you have any like systems in place, or like how do you all keep trust with each other? And if you've lost trust with each other, how did you gain that back?
So it's different ways how we do it. Tarka is not perfect. As you can imagine, every business is not perfect. Sometimes when we are in our day-by-day business, we don't have the check-ins that we are supposed to have. But when we do have those check-ins, you got to put everything on the table. And you have to be able to check yourself sometimes. Have the accountability to know what you bring in the table. So right now, it's a little bit tougher for us right now because we went from 6 owners to 3 owners. So now with the business that's running 160 wholesale accounts, 4 shops, 2 trucks, and then it's only spread on 3 owners. And we have more owners coming in the pipeline, but so now we have to just be more transparent as possible. And then you have to acknowledge your weakness. That's a lot of things that people don't do. Is acknowledging where you fall short and speak up on where you need strength and help in, so that the next person might not have the time, but they can give you some type of assistance to whatever your solution is. But in the real run, we hope to gain more ownership. We want to bring in 3 new owners this upcoming year, and we have people in the pipeline that we can give you that's working hard, and they deserve their position. And it's not a question in my body that they shouldn't be able to spread this opportunity to their self and gain new responsibilities and can grow with the company. But it's transparency. It's just putting the truth out, looking in the mirror, acknowledging where your weakness is and growing. And don't let your weakness be a crutch also. So that's something that I'm learning now. Even like just this public speaking. Like I said, this is my first time ever doing this. When I read the opportunity, I was like, sure, this is cool. But then I was thinking maybe 30 people in my head. Then I see this event, and I'm like, wow, this is a lot of people. But you have to go through those situations. You got to go through those uncomfortable situations and grind it. So those uncomfortable situations, I hope that I do this again. I hope I can get another opportunity to do another creative morning with you guys. But it's just crunching those tough situations out and leaning on one another. And then being a co-op is pretty good because it's not all on one person. You can spread the stress out, or the whatever the capacity is. It should never be on one person. Any more questions?
Yes. Hi, Vinny.
Hey.
What's going on? Hi, everybody. Good Baltimore morning. My name's Alana Nicole Davis, chief storyteller at the City of Baltimore. Just wanted to put that plug in. Shout out to the Baltimore Innovation Team. They're in the room. And past Creative Mornings Baltimore speaker. So shout out to Creative Mornings. Good morning. My question is about showing up, Vinny, because you've shown up so much in my life over the past decade. We've collaborated together. When I was in a past role, we did a big ice cream social with Ben and Jerry's. Even last November, I did a Friendsgiving with my best friend Hanif, and you showed up for us then. Can you talk about how important showing up is and how you know when to show up? Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners know at this point, not all money and not all opportunity is good money, not all opportunity is good opportunity. So can you talk about when to show up and how to show up and how you know to show up, and what that has to do with building trust in a community?
Great question. The answer to that in one word is good to have a friend. And friendship can come from anywhere. How we met was literally organic. It just was a conversation. You was doing something positive. I wanted to support. I wanted to show up. And then the trust of being committed to say, I'm going to be there, and you showing up, your word is bond. So a lot of people talk, but they don't put up. And I think that's where it matters the most, of just showing up, even when you can have a million other things that you can possibly do. But knowing that you are there in a person's corner means the most. Now, it is situations where some situations might not be beneficial to all parties. But when you can help another person into whatever their situation is, you can't be there physically, but if you can send some type of love or some type of assistant that you can be just being there, that's what matters. With you guys, like Neef, like this organic conversation, literally, it just was, I met Alana. We worked. I call her the godmother of Baltimore. She knows everyone, and everyone's adore her. But I met Neff through Alana, and we was able to collab. And he's doing a great things in the city. We're working with children. His nonprofit is going in the community, just speaking to kids, showing that you can make a difference in the community. So that was just an attractive thing. Like I know I had to work with them, and being sometimes like people are discouraged to work with others. I try to work with everyone as much capacity as possible that I can. And then even if it's not, like I said, it's not all about money. Sometimes it's just to know that you have someone in your corner. Even like this morning, I wasn't expecting to have this outcome of all these people coming. And many people I work with and doing events, and they knew like Vinny, I showed up because you were doing your speech, and that's amazing to know that you can have someone that supports you and wants you to thrive, and that's having a friend. And friends is can create of many different ways. Like I said, sometimes it could be through business, it could come through personal, but that relationship is everything. I think relationships is everything in life. That's how you get your foot in the door. Um, Literally, organically, where you know that someone has your genuine best interest is always a positive bond to always have, and you got to cherish that, and that's part of trust. If I say I'm gonna be there, I'm going to be there, and if I don't keep my word, you 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 lose your trust. So that's the main thing. Is just having that friend that you know you can count on and being in your corner.
Good morning. I'm
Um,
curious about the way culture plays a role in the organization of Taharka, right? Because it kind of sounds like there's been an evolution from 6 owners to 3 owners. So, how have you guys refined your cultural values and how that plays out in terms of your hiring and deciding who should be an owner?
So it is a bylaw we follow. Um, so we give all our employees the opportunity to become gain ownership of the company, but you have to be an employee with Taharka Brothers for a minimum of 2 years. There is some requirements of like check-ins with the other 3 owners, and you have to have a buy-in that the company do match. It's not all at one time. It's a very low buy-in. But we hire anyone based off of morals. Um, so a lot of the guys that have been with Taharka Brothers been with Taharka Brothers through friends, been through different programs. Um, we try to bring in people that all share the same principles. Those principles could be social change. It could be just I have a love for ice cream. It could be I want to inspire others. I know for myself, I love ice cream, but I also the impact is more important than anything. So with my ice cream truck, I'm very particular on who works with me. I love to have my guys that want to get in the community, that want to have those conversations with those kids that look like us, um, to have those conversations, to know that there's other opportunities out here than what might meet the eye. So we give those opportunities to people that hold the same moral principles, um, but then to be also on the same side, ownership is not for everyone. Um, some people just like to go to work, 9 to 5, get their check. If they want to get their overtime, they can get that. But then there's some people that know that it's bigger than just the money. It's know that you can actually have a effective impact on the community of just making a change of just it could be in the workplace, it can be that I'm a representative of Taharka. So I feel like all our employees have the sense of ownership from the day they walk in. Because we let them create. We have many different committees. We have a flavor committee. We have a social change committee. So they have their foot in everything. So even if it's just them starting their morning, they know what they're going to do. When it comes to ideas of new flavors, they can throw that out. Open door policy. Our offices is free to all our employees, even not owners. New employees can walk into our door and be like, "Hey, I was thinking this. Let's change this because I think this worked better." It gives that sense of ownership as soon as you walk in day one. And everyone doesn't stick with the company, but our whole thing is to know when you walk away with the company, you leave with something, even if it's just the knowledge, the hands-on experience, or just the friendship, or just the bond of Taharka Brothers. Anyone that works with Taharka Brothers always is the Taharka brother. We have Taharka sisters. It's not just Taharka Brothers. We got ladies working with us too. So. But it's just a sense of family, and know that you can eventually gain ownership and you're going to gain the relationship while you work with the Arca Brothers. And then hopefully the ones that do want to get on board walk that path and follow through.
Thank you so much for sharing all your insights. I have a question about trust. So I was born and raised in Ecuador, and I have lived in the U.S. for over 20 years now. But I noticed that when it comes to trust, and I'm married to a guy who's white, blonde, blue-eyed, tall, and so sometimes it's easy to notice the different level of trust that people perceive between me and I, and me as a woman of color, especially from Latin America. And so when I'm back home, people just trust me. They know my capacity. They, like even when it comes to driving, they give me the keys of the car, not my husband, because they know I know the streets and the roads. But here, I feel like there is this lack of trust often to the capacity that I can have, or the leadership that I can have, the knowledge that I can bring. Even I've had someone say that my perspective as a foreigner is not valid in Baltimore. Someone actually said that recently. So how do you overcome that lack of trust that people give you sometimes automatically just because they look at you?
Thanks. I love that question. To even give my example for my experience as a young African American male with tattoos, golds in my mouth, when you walk in places where they might not know my background or understand me, I know my work ethic speaks for myself. Um, Sometimes you don't look around for approval from other people. That's not why you opinion based, but that's not why you work and why you live for yourself. Um, and your work ethic should speak and value for anything. People are going to have their own biased opinion. Um, like I said, for my example, I walk into buildings and when they say who's the boss and they see this guy with locks and tattoos and they could be like, you don't know anything you're talking. But when I can share my experience, like my knowledge, and the things that I've been through, it is something that I have pride in to prove others wrong. Um, so I say that as in that no matter where your background or where you come from, your ethnicity or your whatever you make in salary, that doesn't matter. You got to go with character, and you go into those buildings with pride, and you know that you represent yourself. People are going to constantly have their own biased opinion, but when you walk in that door, uh, you are for who you are, and no one can change that judgment on you. You know what you represent. I think, especially in Baltimore or just in the United States, this world was built on broken trust. Um, so. Uh, So I think overcoming those situations is the biggest opportunity. I know like that's something that I vow into where I walk in these doors purposely with tattoos and golds in my mouth and I want to prove wrong. I want to prove them different. I want to be like, you thought that I only knew what I knew, but I know a lot more than what you think I know. But and then I done this and that, but just and then the impact of like you might change that other person's viewpoint. A lot of people are biased to just what they've been brought up by. Um, People are sometimes just ignorant, where they just judge people because of like from generations of what they were told. But it could be that one person that you could spark and be like, look, I'm proving you wrong. What your opinion is might change another generation. So I wouldn't change nothing, but just stay who you are and keep walking in pride and confidence. Um, and you can do anything that's possible. And that's how I walk in my doors. Yeah.
Hi, Vinny. Thank
Hey.
you so much for being here today. I wanted to hear your opinion on trust and patience, because sometimes, I mean, trust always takes time, but sometimes trust takes a very long time. And so, how do you approach trust that takes a little bit extra effort or like more time to get to, whether it's someone trying to trust you or you trying to trust someone. Yeah.
Um, I think that is a process, but it takes both parties to want to commit to, um, especially when trust is broken. Uh, you owe it to the other person to know that you have to regain trust. Even if that takes months, years, it might never come. Um, but just knowing that transparency and being truthful and consistent to trying to regain that person's trust is the main person. I think transparency is key. Just acknowledging when you fell short. Speaking of how you can regain check-ins, like just to know that I'm working and to show that you're working and showing the empathy of the situation. That's something I had to learn for myself with things that I broken trust or someone broken my trust. You have to put yourself in that person's shoes, not to feel sorry, so to say, for the person, but to know that that could be your situation also, and how would you felt if that was on the other person's shoes. So if someone broken your trust, you have to go to that extra limit because you owe it to them. But that's a characteristic issue. Some people wake up and just say, I don't owe a person anything. But I think when something is broken, definitely when you break it, you at least owe it to the person to repair that process. And it's going to be a process. It might be tough situations where you're like, I'm trying to believe me, like, but you owe it to the person. It's just having transparency, and you have to consistently keep what we used to say, excuse my language, the give a fuck. You gotta care. You gotta just like show the extra mile, even if you're doing like the extra tedious thing. Like you sometimes be like, I shouldn't have to do all this, but you gotta do the extra mile to gain trust. And hopefully that person can gain that trust, but you have to put in the work. I think nothing comes to you without hard work.
Hi, thanks for being here today.
Hey.
I have a question that's sort of related, and it is, so sorry to make you keep speaking about this, but I want to know if you've been in a situation where you do see that it's time to recognize that the person that you are having an issue with doesn't have your best interest at heart, and you want to maintain respect and respectfully kind of part ways, but, you know, I don't know if you can speak on that in terms
Love
of
them
how
from a
trust
distance.
works.
Love them from a distance. That's the best I can say. That's just on a personal relationship or business. Some things you just know is wrong and right is right. And if your gut is just saying walk away from it, walk away from it. Because you're going to always hold that regret to feel like you're walking on eggs or the trust is going to be easily broken. You can love that person from a distance. Like, I love you, but I can't be around you. There's no hard beef, but I wish you well. And I'm in the corner rooting for you, but I'm in my corner.
Thank you.
That's my answer. Thank you.
All right, so to close us out, I'm gonna. I know you touched on this a little bit in your talk, but I know that one of the coolest things about Taharka Brothers is that your commitment to social change, and you recently had a little promo on social media with Governor Wes Moore. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. It was actually, I think every entrepreneur could probably speak. Everything just kind of organically happens. That was a situation where Ben and Jerry's are big brother twins. They want to be us, well, we want to be like them. They were having a conversation. He just signed his bill with the cannabis issue of dropping all of those charges on the marijuana. And he was like, we want a new flavor. Appreciate it. Yeah, that was definitely a great thing. And that literally was just a conversation that it was a ha moment. Like, we could create a flavor. We want more. And he followed up and had someone reached out to us, and we made the flavor, and Next thing you know, it was on his desk and it was getting fully blessed and it was all over. And everyone's like, yeah, you know Westmore is loving Tahark Brothers ice cream. And we was like, yeah, that's cool. So I think everything happens organically. Like I said, everything happens in-house. So like our team members, they just walked in our office and we told them about the opportunity and it was a brainstorm. We had the burger cookie flavor many years ago and that was one of his favorite Baltimore cookies. So we try to create something like that, and we want to be a support to anyone that's doing a positive impact in the city. And even if it's not the governor, even if you're just a starting nonprofit and you want to say, I'm doing a block party for mental health awareness or to stop the violence, with anything, Taharka Brothers just like to be able to uplift anybody platform that's trying to do positive. So I work with many organizations that just trying to create change. So what I do is just put myself out there of be able to be touched or be able to give my product to people that aren't able to know about my brand or know what we do. And to know that it looks like me that's behind it, especially to go in those inner cities, especially like Sandtown, the Utah Street, the White Lock area, the Green Mound. We worked with literally almost the whole city, but the whole point is just to be able to have that impact of showing that visibility creates change and seeing that people can be out, make a difference, and strive to create change in today's society.
Y'all, can you help me thank Vinny? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.